thoroughly enjoyed my trip to Nebraska. So, anybody see any good movies lately?
Not really, no.
Oh. Read any good books?
No.
No.
Nope. Anything new with corn?
Oh, yeah, corn.
Corn.
Oh,
Yeah,
betcha.
corn, you
Oh,
betcha.
corn, absolutely. Corn, yeah, absolutely.
Corn is always...
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. How it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're bound to win, and we're going to win today. In the days of old, Johnny Vanderbilt would just take that ball in hand, and with Benedict right in front of him, they would set sail for the land. Then Doc Eager too, with a chosen few, would be all round everywhere. And before they quit, they would calmly sit down behind that goalpost there. For Nebraska and the Scarlet, for Nebraska and the Cream, though they come through many battles, our colors still are seen. And so in contest and in victory, we will wave them for the team. And we'll always stir a Cornhusker, the Scarlet and the Cream.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're Two Average Guys. Welcome back
Welcome
to
back.
another episode of, Turnover Fest. Wow.
The Turnover Show? Is that what you're going to say?
Turnover Show. Yeah, Turnover
Welcome back
Fest.
to the Turnover Show.
Again, we're not talking about food because that sounds delicious, but Miguel, never will be another Heisman at Nebraska. Man, if there is, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we need to talk about first the bad part of yesterday, which was turnovers.
I mean, there's not much else you can talk about when you talk about the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is another game where we were the better team. I have no doubt in my mind we were the better team. Not just on paper, on the field, except for the quarterback position. Outside of the quarterback, we were a much better team.
2 weeks in a row, I would say the same thing. I mean, a quarterback like Tagovailoa, who's pretty good, we kept in check, and their offense really couldn't do much.
And yeah, he didn't do great, but guess what? He didn't turn the ball over.
Yep. I mean, he did, but he had one interception, but not as consistent as we did.
Yeah. He didn't make mistakes that our quarterbacks made, and I think that was.
And the one he threw got tipped. So
yeah. I thought we did a pretty good job on the defensive side of the ball, but as far as the offense goes, I mean, what's the answer, Jim? I mean, we tried. Harper gets hurt. We bring Sims in. Sims drives the ball downfield. Only to stall out of a 4-2.
Yep, which was a bad play call, I would say. We probably should have kicked it there. I know you said go for it again. And at that point, I said the same thing, but obviously you look back and you're like, well, we could have taken points there. Easy to say. Yeah. I thought we should have gone for it. The play call wasn't great. I guess you kind of give Sims a run-pass option, but it wasn't there. Then Sims fumbles, at our own 20, kind of right back to very Sims-like.
After he had already threw an interception.
After he threw an interception in the end zone.
Yeah. I will say the interception, I still think that our receiver, I think that might have been Coleman out there. He had a shot at it. I mean, he was going downfield. It would have been a contested catch, but at least it would have been contested rather than them just catching the ball. Well, it was an easy interception because he looked over the wrong shoulder. He couldn't find the ball, and I really didn't think it was that bad of a pass. But again, it's still an interception in the end zone, and we had 2 of those yesterday in the end zone.
I know Jamie posted before a couple hours ago, actually, when we were talking about, or when we posted that we were going to go live at 1:30. He said, take a look back at those interceptions. It's not all on the QBs. It's not necessarily all on Satterfield. Whatever it was that you said, Jamie. But I agree. We went back and kind of looked at them. It's a lot of young receivers running routes, running the wrong routes, missing routes, not finishing, not catching the ball exactly. Not all of it's on some guys that are taking a lot of heat. But, you look at some of those interceptions and they're essentially thrown right to their guys.
Yeah.
With, whether they were overthrows. To me, some of those were guys not in the right position.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of bad play calling, but yeah, I mean, you have 3 different quarterbacks come in and throw interceptions. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting too. You look at not only those turnovers. When Sims came in, I said, "Hey, he's going to drive us downfield, get a touchdown. Just watch, it's going to happen." And he drove the ball downfield.
Right.
He did really well. Again, that first 4th and 2, I think it was a great call.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, yeah, I'm like, "Hey, go for it again," but I was kind of hoping that they would take the points because that's probably the smarter thing to do there.
It's tough call, and they're trying to win a game and not having very much offense. I mean, they showed it. We averaged before yesterday, 19 points a game, which is one of the fewest in Power 5.
But don't call that play. Like, that was a horrible play call.
Yeah.
They knew you're going to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They knew it. But instead of taking time to get things moving, we did a draw or a quarterback read, and that just wasn't the right play. It took too much time to develop, and they read it.
Well, and I know the backup, Sims for the last several weeks, that they were saying it yesterday, you're one play away. You're ready to go. You're one play from getting in the game.
Yeah.
So they're ready to go. But you come in, middle of a tight game, and, you can't make very many mistakes.
Yep.
And you have to limit them right away.
Yep.
And I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job leading a drive. And I'm like, okay, this looks a little different. The Harburg show has been the same thing for 4 or 5 weeks in a row. Yep. Yeah, we've been able to sneak out some wins, but it's been pretty ugly offensively. And it was the same thing early on. And I was thinking, let's get Purdy in there. And then Harburg gets hurt, and it's like, okay, well, Sims is going to come in. Well, let's see. Looked a little better than he had. Then kind of regressed back to the same fumble at our own 20, throwing interceptions.
Yeah, and that fumble was bad.
The fumble was bad.
That was real bad. I mean, again, protect the ball.
Yeah.
They talked about eagle claw. It's like before the game, like, who doesn't know to hold the football like that? And it's not just holding it like that. You got to hold it in tight. And he's out here dangling it along the side. Like, you can't do that.
I don't know what they can do to fix the turnovers. It's like the 3rd coaching staff in a row or more that the same thing has happened where we just have unbelievable turnovers.
Yeah, lead the Big Ten. So
nation.
Miguel, you don't think Rule's the right fit for the job? I don't think it's way too early to tell. For one, we're 500 right now.
I mean, we lost the last 2 games to teams that were on big losing streaks. Yeah. I get it. I get frustration, but I wouldn't say that.
But he also changed quarterbacks and kept the quarterback in that he should have kept in. He did keep in Sims. Until Harburg said he was ready to go, he said, nope, keep him in.
Until Sims
fumbled after the interception.
And it was like, you know what? It's time.
Yeah. And I think, too, you look at Purdy comes in, and
on our own 3-yard
line, because we got Blackshear's got another turnover with just a boomstick of a hit, and we get the ball back. He goes down, 90 plus yards.
And you're talking a shotgun snap in the end zone on his first snap. He was 0 for 2 on the season on completed passes. Throws the ball with a nice catch and run. I had a couple really good runs, really hard runs. Looked really good. Unfortunately, and I know people are calling for Satterfield's head today, tomorrow, the day after Iowa, whatever you want to say, whatever people are saying. But talking about that last play, we were just talking about it before we came on. The interception that he threw at the 5 on 3rd down. Okay, let's just start back at 1st and goal at the 5. What I believe Rule said was it was a run, but Purdy. It wasn't there. The run wasn't there because it was kind of an RPO, but they were planning on handing the ball off. And Purdy kept it, thinking he could maybe try to get something out of it, and threw it away. I don't care.
That never looked like a run to me, ever.
I know.
And never did.
So I don't know what you want to say about that, but you got to run the ball on 1st down. You have to run the ball on first down.
2nd, 3rd down.
I mean, you run the ball 3 downs.
Should have been 3 downs in a row where we run the ball and get it in the end zone. If we don't get it in, we at least get 3 points. We take the lead.
Yeah, and you kill a couple minutes of clock and make them either use their timeouts or there's a minute and a half left and they've got to at least get 3 to tie.
Yeah,
and so 2nd down, you run the ball for a loss, It was expected. I mean, especially when you throw the ball on first down for an incomplete throwaway. Third down, yeah, I mean, Malachi Coleman steps into that throw. He catches it, walks in, easy touchdown. Agreed.
But he threw his hands up like this,
thinking it was going to Kemp.
Catch it.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's an experience, though. Right?
It is. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I don't care if you're trying to win the game right there. You can still win the game essentially with a field goal. So you run the ball there.
Yeah.
Especially the way Emmett Johnson was running.
Oh,
yeah, they knew that we were going to, they figured we were probably going to run the ball. The way Purdy was running on that drive, the way Emmett Johnson was running, not only on that drive, but most of the game, most of the second half at least, you hand the ball off. You run the ball.
Yeah.
And you get, if you get down to the one, then maybe you make a decision. Are we going to go for it, or are you going to kick the field goal? But you can't throw you can't throw it there. I'm sorry. You have to come away with points.
Yeah, that was a big mistake. And like Jason says here, is Rule has a history of firing offense coordinators after 1 year. Did it both at Baylor and at Temple. I don't know that Satterfield's going to be around after this year. I think the last 2 games are going to be a really big question mark for what's going to happen to him.
And I know both those teams. Well, at least Iowa has a really good defense. Wisconsin, I don't know what's going on with them, but those are 2 winnable games. I mean, Wisconsin lost to Northwestern at home by what, 20?
Well, it was 24-10. They got a touchdown with like 15 seconds left in the game. So, but 24-10. I mean, they're up 24-3 for a long time. It was halftime. It was 24-3.
I don't get it, and I don't know. I was gonna send this to you guys, and I completely forgot. There's a video of it's like a 4-minute long video of one of the Wisconsin players.
Yeah,
he's a Wisconsin kid, highly recruited, and they interviewed him for like 4 minutes after the game, and he just was throwing them under the bus about how soft they are and they don't know what's going on. I can't remember his name. I'll look it up.
Interesting.
Maybe we'll post it or something, but I couldn't believe it. And they're like, are guys buying in? He's like, some guys are buying in, some I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know what's going on.
New coaching staff, man. It's
definitely interesting. It's not that he even says, this isn't the Wisconsin that I signed on to play for.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Donnie. Yeah, I agree. We've lost. Not even just 2 winnable games. I mean, the last 2 for sure winnable games, but again.
Yeah. Sorry, I got
Colorado winnable game.
I mean, sorry, I got sidetracked there. Satterfield. We'll see how these last 2 games go for him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if Rule has a history of doing it, I mean, Satterfield makes more than Tony White does.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Dude's getting $4 million a year.
Who?
Satterfield.
I thought he was getting 1.4 and Tony White's at 1.
So however many years, I'm guessing his contract's probably total $4 million. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he is somebody that we want to continue to have on the squad. Again, it's
especially when you see the South Carolina fans and players that were calling him out from last year and how they were happy to get rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, I was in Nashville last year when South Carolina destroyed Tennessee. It was, I think, at South Carolina, but we were at the bars on Broadway, and all the Tennessee fans were like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And I was like, and when I found out on that trip that it was potentially going to be Rule with Satterfield, and I was like, okay. I didn't really know much about him.
Yeah.
And then
now we know.
Now we know.
Now we know. And again, there was multiple people who posted this yesterday on one of our social media outlets about, we have things that are working. They're working well, and we stopped doing them.
Running the ball.
we literally we could have ran the ball up the middle against Maryland the entire game.
Well,
when we decided to do a QB like a QB option, or we tried to go outside and took too slow to develop, that's when they got us. Was on the outside. We went up the middle. That's when we got our big chunk yards, and we stopped doing it. Well, and that's why I thought on that 4th and 2, if we're going to do anything, just go straight up the middle. I said do an offset eye with a fullback in there and pull back and go straight down the middle.
Well, and you look at like the Michigan-Penn State game yesterday. Did Michigan throw a pass in the second half?
No.
They ran the ball. I said, even Matt Castle on the Peacock halftime show, if you didn't buy Peacock, he said, if I'm Nebraska, I come out this second half and I don't throw a single pass.
Yeah.
And I said, yes.
Yes.
I don't care if they know we're going to run it. Even if we're not as good as Michigan running the ball. I mean, we're decent, but we don't have the offensive line that Michigan does. But I don't care. it's better than throwing it up right to them or not having guys know the routes or whatever the case is. Run the ball.
Yeah.
We had a better chance running the ball with any player. Any of those three quarterbacks, they can run.
Yeah.
Emmett Johnson and Grant were great. I mean, they were fine getting the ball yesterday.
Purdy had 3 first-down runs.
Yeah.
And really good runs.
Well,
that
and
kid came in
the one
hyped
thing
up.
about Sims and Purdy is they are not as hesitant as Harburg when they go to run.
Yeah.
And so they were able to get first downs like we haven't seen the last few weeks because Harburg takes that extra little hesitant second or step, and those guys just went and got him.
Yep.
So hard to say.
Yeah, and so I thought Purdy was super impressive. I honestly wouldn't care if Purdy came out starting next week. And I said it. Someone laughed when I posted that yesterday to response to somebody. I said, all I'm saying is start Purdy next week. I don't see why not.
Right.
You have Harburg and Sims who are just turnover happy.
Yeah.
And Purdy throws an interception, which really shouldn't have been because Coleman should have got it. Or it was just, again, it was a stupid play call. You put him out. He's thrown, including yesterday, I think 4 or 5 total passes this year. So you put him in a stupid situation.
And we were going into the wind. I mean, it was just a whole bunch of different factors there. I say start Purdy, give him a quarter, give him a half.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're down by 10 points, which I don't think we will be. I mean, I know we're going on the road, but it's a night game.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that our guys come up juiced. I think our defense will come up juiced, especially if they watch some film of Wisconsin the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be able to probably get some pressure on the quarterback, maybe some turnovers. I mean, that might be the only way we can win the game. But, man, give Purdy a shot.
And yesterday was exciting because we didn't have any turnovers in the first half. And then we came out in the second half, and our defense was even more fired up and played so much better in the second half than they did the first half. And they didn't play bad in the first half. They just were on a different level in the second half. Like they had a bunch of protein shakes and went and lifted some weights at halftime. They were all jacked up. It was exciting to see.
I'm sure they were pissed a little bit because they played really well. It's a 0-0 game. You know, we got a fourth down conversion, and then it's still 0-0 game. 3.5 minutes left?
Yep.
We go for it on 4th and 2, don't get it, and then
2 plays.
Then 2 plays. I mean, they had the long play where Hartzog got burned. I mean,
he got burned twice. First one he got burned. The second one
Newsome unfortunately was out. I thought they posted why he was out, but I didn't really see what his status is. Unfortunate because he's one of the best.
Having him out there on the corner would have been much better than having.
Especially because those Maryland receivers are some of the best in the Big Ten. They've got a couple guys in the top in the Big Ten,
and their tight end's really good too. I mean, they got
all in all we held them in check, and they didn't even have any rushing yards until the fourth quarter. They end up with 100, and that was just I don't know if we thought they were going to throw the ball, and then they had 20-yard runs that really daggered us down the stretch.
We really backed up to avoid the long ball.
It was difficult, but no, the defense was great. And the only thing the defense is not great on, which we talked about yesterday, is 3rd and long.
Yeah,
it's like the scheme is so gets you in your head that you don't know what to do on 1st and 2nd down because guys are coming from everywhere. And on 3rd down, guys are going to be coming. Yeah. And so you're able to figure out a play to get just enough or sneak a guy out where pressure's coming from. And so 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, we can't freaking stop them.
Yep. Agree.
It's terrible.
And we play soft. Our defense. So again, then I was talking to my brother about it, is it the cornerbacks coach or is it Tony White with the play call? Because there's no reason on a 3rd and 15 that we're playing at the 1st down yard line. There's no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're already giving. He catches the ball 7-8 yards in, and then he still gets the 1st down because we're so far away from the ball and we don't make no field tackle. I mean,
or he catches it at the sticks on a 3rd and 10, and it's like, why is he that open? Why is nobody? Why is it playing so press coverage off the ball like that? Like, you got to have somebody right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to address a couple questions that just came through. One person. So Jimbo Fisher got fired today. And so his buyout $76.8 million. Boo hoo! You're not going to work a day in your life. But someone said, with Jimbo being fired, if we get rid of Satterfield, should we bring in Jimbo Fisher for the offense coordinator job? Before you answer, here's my take. I don't like Jimbo Fisher.
I don't either.
I think he's scum. I think he is. I never liked the guy. I didn't like him at Florida State. I think he is just I don't know. I do not like the guy. So I'm going to say no just based on me just not liking him.
He won a national.
That's all I got to say.
He won a national championship, and they have like their 4th straight like top 10 recruiting class. I mean,
and they suck.
yeah, but
I
mean,
congratulations.
you can bring some guys in, and some of the other guys can develop. I mean,
So
I
then you
don't
just
know.
have a crappy. You have a crappy coaching staff.
I hadn't thought about it. You put me on the spot. I don't know. I don't like the guy really either. He's been pretty successful, and I don't know. He's pretty rich now, I guess. So why would you go anywhere else?
Who you throwing back?
But Matt Rule was kind of the same way. He could have sat and
Yeah.
on $50 million and done nothing. And he decided he
we
wanted.
could give Jimbo a bag of pennies and he might come coach. We'll see. But I don't personally want him in. The other question was about Jeff Sims and Heinrich Haarberg. Do they transfer by next year? Haarberg ain't going anywhere. Heinrich Haarberg is not going to go anywhere because no one's going to pick him up
Well, Sims.
unless he goes FCS. Sims might, but it all depends on what we.
Couple things there. Haarberg could maybe play at a non-Power 5 starter. And I mean, obviously, he's won 5 games for us. So I mean, and 3 or 4, whatever, however many of those games are Big Ten, 3 Big Ten wins. So I mean, he can play. It's just fitting in the right system, I guess. Sims, though, if he transfers, he's gonna have to sit out a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he goes anywhere either.
I don't think
Unless he
Sims-
tries to change positions or
Yes.
get him on the field as like maybe I don't even know if you want to like direct snap to him like a quarterback because he is fumble prone.
Ball,
but I don't know.
But one thing we have seen is that Tulane quarterback, pretty damn good. That apparently we're going after. We got Kalen coming in from Bellevue West. We have another quarterback that we just offered for the following class. That's one of the top in the nation. So do we scratch the entire quarterback portal or quarterback room for the porthole, Donnie? For the portal, I think
We're getting a Porter quarterback.
it's going to be hard to do. We're gonna get a quarterback. I know we will. Heinrich Haarberg is not going to be our starter next year. I feel confident in saying that, and I think it's the right thing to do. I like the kid. Again, I think he's a competitor. We can still get him involved in the game,
Mhm.
but we have to have a quarterback that is a dual threat for running and throwing. We barely have him as either one right now. He's
Right.
he's not a threat to throw the ball, and he's not even a threat to run the ball.
Yeah,
The last 2 games, he's showed us he's not going to take off.
Well, and that's the kind of tough thing when they say like, this Nebraska is one of the best rushing teams in the Big Ten. That's from a few games, from a few long Harvard runs,
Yeah.
and we haven't seen that the last few weeks. I mean,
Yeah. But
that got shut down when
yeah.
people start watching film.
But
So
we also got our running backs, Emmett Johnson and Anthony Grant had a good game yesterday too. He
Yeah,
didn't get a ton of
yeah.
carries, but when he did, he ran hard.
Yeah.
Emmett Johnson was busting through the middle. Our running backs have really done a great job, and we need to use them more. And I don't know why you wouldn't. We got Fleeks as well. Fleeks has been great in the backfield. So how do we get them more involved? Whether you're doing a little bubble screen, you're doing a little swing pass. We've had some swing passes. Sometimes they just develop really slowly.
I think so.
And we're not very good at our wide receivers, young wide
Receivers blocking.
downfield. So
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Washington was a great blocker.
fantastic.
Great blocker. So, I mean, those are little things that when those guys
Garcia
get hurt,
Castaneda, too.
those guys that get hurt, it's like, yeah, we're not going to be able to throw the ball to them, but that's other things that you don't think about. Like those guys block in the run game.
And Billy Kemp's 5'6". He ain't blocking anything.
The Bonner touchdown was pretty solid. He
Yeah.
broke that tackle, which made me super nervous. I thought he was getting stopped. And then I was like, he's not going to make it to the pylon. And he did
Yeah.
because Haarberg had tried to go that way before and didn't make it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I love. See, that's the kind of play call that they didn't expect that.
right.
And it was a fullback.
And that's what Satterfield does,
Love it.
but it's, we did a play that it kind of beautifully developed to Fedoni for a nice little run and for
Anyway,
he got 8 to 10 yards or whatever, and I was like, man, that was like perfect. If we could have 9 times out of 10 our plays look like that, then we know what we're doing. And maybe it's just personnel is not right. Maybe it's they're trying too much with young guys. I don't know.
Yep.
But here and there you see some plays and you're like, man, that was really, really well played.
Yeah. Quick shout out real quick. Want to say again, thank you to Backswing Brewing for the beer. And we'll talk more about Backswing here in a little bit and what we're doing next week for the Wisconsin game.
Yes.
For those of you that are in the area and want to join us. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. And Miguel, you mentioned you like the shirt. It is a badass shirt. Brian posted the link to our store where you can get hats, sweatshirts, T-shirts, all sorts of swag. So definitely check it out. Shopify.
You get stickers.
Stickers. I mean, I have a phone case. So all different sorts of stuff going on there. But love the support. Appreciate it. But yeah, again, I think enough about our offense. Again, there wasn't really a lot of standout on the offense, other than, to me, offensive line played great.
Much better.
Here's the thing. People are going to hammer the offensive line. I had backed them since the first or second game of the year because we thought that would be a weak point again. And as much as we struggled on the left side of the line at the beginning of the year, now with Corcoran out and Piper out, now we got Latovsky and what's his name? Prochaska, Teddy in there.
Yeah.
Our offensive line, for one, discipline. We're not getting holding calls. We're not false starting.
Yeah.
We're no illegal motion. Our offensive line is playing to the point where they're not losing us games. They're giving us a chance to win the games.
Yeah.
Our quarterbacks are not getting sacked very often. If they do, a lot of times it's because they're not moving. But we're not giving up a lot of sacks. We're able to open up holes. Our running backs are hitting those holes sometimes. So we can get a little better at that. But I thought our offensive line played great yesterday.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before. Benhart was crucified by us and many for the last several years, and he's been pretty good. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's somebody that could actually make it.
Yeah.
He could play on Sundays.
100%.
He's a big dude, and it's not like, man, why is 50? And there's been a time or two where he's been, like this with not touching anybody, but you don't really see it anymore. Now, it's
very few and far between where you have to call it an offensive lineman right now.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And
it's almost like they're better since some of those guys got hurt. And I hate to say that, but I don't know if it's chemistry or heart, determination. Nice, well played.
Yeah, well played.
I don't know. A guy's just getting a chance and finally, hey, I'm not really a practice player. I'm more of a game player.
Well, and when you bring in Teddy and Latovsky, like those guys have played before. It's not their first time they're not freshmen coming in. They have experience. And so that's been really nice. But I do think our O-line has been pretty solid this year. I think they've had, again, looking at last year and what we saw last year compared to this year, leaps and bounds difference. I mean, complete 180.
Which is crazy because we could actually score points pretty well last year. We can't.
Yeah, that's what's so.
I know I saw somebody posted, and it's a dumb comment to even bring up, but what's this team look like if Casey Thompson healthy for the whole year looks, which he wouldn't have been healthy the whole year. He got hurt like game 2 and was out for the season, so you never know. But
and you can miss Casey all you want. Again, we know he wasn't a great quarterback. He wasn't bad. But again, new coaching staff comes in. They say, "Hey, we got this guy we're bringing in." I don't blame him for leaving.
And he's not that he can run, but he wasn't, really much of a runner. And with all those guys getting hurt at wide receiver, I mean, forget I said it. It's just a thought.
Well, but
I was just thinking out loud.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Yeah, you can talk about Rule, even Satterfield. Again, I don't like his play calling. Whatever. Either way, you can't coach. These turnovers are not coaching problem. The turnovers are individual problems for the team, individual quarterback problems. Our running backs are holding on to the ball now. Now it's just our quarterbacks. So how do you fix it? Eagle claw is not the way to fix it. These guys have to do it themselves. They have to be determined to take care of the ball better. If the pass isn't there, don't throw it. Throw it out of bounds. I'd rather you throw it out of bounds than throw an interception. And sometimes I feel like Harbaug's done this a few times where he's just trying to throw the ball away and say he throws an interception. He actually kind of did it yesterday, but we got a holding call, which I don't know if he threw it because he already saw the hold.
Probably not.
But, man, he threw that ball so far downfield that no one else – I don't even think our guy, if he didn't get held, was going to catch up to it.
Yeah. It was like it was a punt.
Yeah. I'm like, so I just –
They're right to the guy and he just caught it.
It is something they need to work on. And, again, that's not coaching. That is not a coaching problem. That is something they have to fix on themselves.
I mean, I guess a little bit, like, just situational awareness, I guess. Like, third string quarterback hasn't really played much. Tie game, few minutes left. Inside the 10-yard line. Maybe don't throw the ball. Just a bit of situational awareness, if you will. run the ball and take the 3 and play defense, especially with how good the defense has been.
Make them go the full length of the field. I mean, and give the defense a chance to win it like they've been doing the entire game.
And if they score a touchdown and win the game, okay. If you throw an interception and they go down and kick a field goal, they're going to win the game anyway, like they did.
Yep.
So kick the field goal, play defense.
Oh man, you opened Pandora's box on that one because I did. I'm super pissed off.
Oh, you were pissed. You called me and said this is the most pissed I've been in years.
I was pissed because they called that pass interference on Tommy Hill.
Yes, and that was the only penalty we had the entire game.
No penalties the entire game. Our offensive, defensive line, we were extremely disciplined. When was the last time you say we had a disciplined Husker football team?
Especially and we probably could have gotten a few flags. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when their guys had a few like, oh, I got bumped, I'm going to push you back, 15-yard penalty, took them out of field goal range.
Yeah.
Took them out of field goal range, made them have to punt. They had 100 yards in penalties.
They had like 10 or 11, yeah. And 2 of them were personal fouls, which I'm like, I was kind of
like our guys maybe like bumped them late, and they kind of were like, oh, I didn't like that, and pushed it back and got a 15 and took them out of field goal range. Mm-hmm. And we did not do that. So anyway, go back to Tommy.
So we're very disciplined the entire game. Tommy Hill, I thought he had great coverage. If you go back and watch that penalty again, watch the wide receiver and what he does to Tommy Hill before he jumps for the ball. He grabs him right by the front of his pads and yanks down before he jumps. And I understand he didn't turn
his head around.
I get it. But at the same time, you cannot let the offensive player get away from dragging our guy towards the ground before he jumps. That's a penalty. That's offensive pass interference. You have to call. That should have been a wiped out. We're going to replay the down, if nothing else. Tommy had great coverage. I thought he played a great game. And the fact that was our one penalty that gave them 15 yards to get him in field goal position, super pissed off. And Jimmy, I told you this yesterday, Brian, I told you, I have never been so pissed off during a Husker game. Forget the turnovers. Forget them. That made me so mad. But what made me more upset was that final call where they called the pass interference when Tommy got pulled first. And Big Ten refs, you have not done a good job this entire year.
Oh, they've been terrible. That delay a game.
And I will say, oh God.
You know what I'm talking about, Brian.
And I will say, yes, we got lucky. I think they got some calls that were kind of the 2 personal fouls that they got were kind of bush league. I don't think
they were kind of weak.
I really didn't think they were, but that pass interference call, again, is it why we lost the game? No, we had 5 turnovers. But it gave them field goal position, and that really killed us because I thought Tommy did a great job. And Talia, afterwards, you could see him pumping like I knew that was going to happen. It's the only reason why they did that play was look for PI. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason.
He, like you had said, he could have thrown it another 5 yards and he would have caught it.
Yeah,
because he was throwing them out there to those guys and not even close to him, and those guys were diving, catching passes.
He underthrew that ball, and I think he did it on purpose. Is that smart?
All they had to do was get a field goal. Why not?
So that man, that was, again, extremely disciplined game. And when you look at one penalty in the entire game and the one was at the end of the game to get him in field goal position, that's going to piss anybody off. And, again, kudos to our defense because, man, they play just balls out.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about turning the ball over and they're inside our 10, inside our 5, and I'm like, I literally said, let's just let them score so we can have a chance to tie the game. Because otherwise we're not going to. And then because we had blown 2 timeouts. Yep. We blew a timeout at 8.5 minute mark of the third quarter and at 8.5 minute mark of the fourth quarter. And I'm like,
and Rule was pissed.
And Rule was pissed because that's just when you have multiple different quarterbacks playing, you're out of sync.
Getting the play in.
Yep, you're out of sync. So we had already blown 2 of our timeouts. I'm like, man, we might as well just let them score here. And then boom, defense knocks the ball out and we get the ball at the 3.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, I take that back.
Dude, that hit was phenomenal.
Yes, it was jabbing right.
Yeah.
He had 2 turnovers.
Buddha, yeah.
Yeah.
He had the pick and he had the hit. And that was – so I posted the video on our Instagram. I think it might have come up on Facebook too. But I posted and I was like, hey, watch this hit. Boom. I grabbed my hit. It was beautiful.
It was.
It was exactly what you're taught to do. It was a great hit.
It just makes me nervous. And I don't know that this is necessarily going to happen. But just with how good we are on defense and how good – a lot of those players are. I really hope some of those guys don't enter the portal just to try to see if the grass is greener somewhere else because they're playing so good on defense with not getting much in return from the offense. I mean, that was kind of what Ernest Hausman did, I guess, last year. Went to Michigan. I mean, it was between Nebraska and Michigan, and he chose Nebraska because he's from Columbus and then ended up leaving to go to Michigan. I get it. But
I also think part of that's probably, for one, yes, new coaching staff. Two, I think you're also looking at now with NIL.
Yeah.
You're looking at money.
And that could happen.
Michigan comes with McDonald's bag full of cash. You just never know.
And that could happen. That could happen to some of our other players. Who knows? But hopefully, these guys are kind of like seeing changes that are being made throughout the program. And
two guys I want to call out on defense outside of Buddha that had a great game. Marquise Buford. Sorry, I'm going to call out more than two guys because I just thought of more people. But Buford had. I
know he had been injured. And I wasn't even sure he was going to play.
I knew he was going to be back.
And that sack he had on that blitz was awesome.
Beautiful delayed blitz on the blind side.
It was a good call. It was a really good call.
We also have Jamar
Butler. He had a really good game.
Phenomenal game.
He had one missed tackle that would have really sealed the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
He had
a really good game.
He had a great game. Isaac Gifford still continues to shine. Isaac Gifford's he's better than his brother. He's better than, to me, he is better than Nate.
Than your Cowboy, Luke?
Yeah, or Luke. He's not on the Cowboys, he's the Titan now. Okay. But he's better than Luke, if you ask me. I think he is.
He's all over the place.
I think he's a better tackler. Also, I think the defensive scheme he's playing in changes how he plays compared to Luke.
Right, like he could play at the next level because he could be like a nickel.
Yeah.
Safety, whatever position they call it in a nickel or whatever.
He makes me think of a lot of the guys on our defense. The way they tackle makes me think of JoJo Doman.
Mm-hmm.
JoJo was one of the best tacklers we had in a long time, and the guys we have on the team now, again, they're bolting towards the ball. They're not waiting for the guy to come to them. They're going to it.
He did. I don't know if he was in on a sack or a tackle for loss, but he was right there, and I'm like, man, isn't he like a safety kind of position? Like. Yeah. It was like a second after the snap, and he's there, and I'm like, I'm not sure he was really blitzing, but like, if that's like a play action, you'd probably get burned over the top, right? But he's right there. It's crazy.
Well, and there was another great play talking about another guy, Omar Brown. Omar Brown's been phenomenal. He hasn't had a bad game yet, but there was a play where Talia started running out to the side, and he's like, "Oh, are you going to throw the ball or not?" So he's kind of backing up into coverage, but he's watching him the entire time. As soon as he released that ball, or no, he started to take off. He started to run, and boom, Omar Brown took off right at him and made the tackle. And it's like that's the kind of play that you want from your defender. Is he is not only watching the quarterback, he must have been a QB spy, but he was also backing up into coverage just in case to hit the tight end over the top. And so he had both covered. Like, that was just amazing coverage. But our defense has been doing that all year.
It's just pretty insane, and we've kind of talked about this throughout the year, but just how different it's been this year on defense with like how much better they are at tackling.
Yes.
And body position and angles. It's just like,
yes,
I guess fundamentals, if you will.
Yeah.
But they do it at a high level.
They're
and it's like
coached
they went, and so it was almost like they were there, but they didn't. They were too far ahead without having the fundamentals, the backbone, if you will.
Yep.
And now that they have that, they're elite.
Yes.
Except on 3rd and 15. Anyway.
So, Mike, got to be a record. We had 3 QBs with at least 1 interception.
Yeah,
you might be right. I don't want to look that up. I don't either. I don't want to have that record, but you're probably right. That
are you talking about Mikey P?
Yeah, Mikey P.
Yeah, Mikey P was at a birthday party but the game was not on. So he said that they were doing a pod yesterday, and he's like, topic today?
Yeah.
Birthday parties during Husker games. Kids' birthday parties during Husker games.
Yeah. Kid birthday party too, even more fun. It's not even an adult birthday party, which I'd be more upset at an adult birthday party not having the Husker game.
Come on, Mike, pull up Peacock on your phone or something.
Yeah.
No, I know.
So how long? Luke says how long until the North Carolina State quarterback Armstrong enters the transfer portal and becomes Nebraska quarterback? You know what? I'll be honest, Luke. I don't know much about him.
I don't either.
If we're looking at him or he's a potential portal guy. Yeah, I mean, any good quarterback in the portal, we should be jumping on. They should all be options.
And they should take a look at us and say, hey, this team's got a good defense.
You also have some young wide receivers that are studs.
Good running backs, and a absolutely phenomenal fan base, yes.
Your offensive line is better.
And they're really just missing that last piece as a quarterback, and if I'm that good, should come play here.
And if he likes steaks, Omaha Steaks, where's your NIL deals?
Yeah, you
come on,
dang,
come on, right?
Call.
Like, holy shit! Like, get alignment on that.
I mean, I know they got the pipeline. No, I wore my shirt for the game yesterday. I wore my pipeline shirt for the game yesterday.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you would think that we would be able to get a quarterback a phenomenal NIL deal here.
You'd think. So I agree. Multiple people, and William, you're one of them, have just said, and I haven't called you out. Thanks for participating. Yeah, time to open up that checkbook. I think that's something Nebraska. It's not as publicized as some other schools. You know what they're doing with these kids. You know the kind of deals they're offering. You don't see that a lot with Nebraska. I don't know what NIL deals these kids have. I have no idea.
I mean, aside from
you got burritos, you got pipeline jerky.
You got pipeline
There's
jerky.
a new beer one with was it not Pint 9 maybe?
is it Kincaidor? I
No,
don't know.
it's not Kincaid.
Think it isn't? Okay.
No. Either way.
Anyway,
Valentino's, yes.
yeah, I mean, DeColdis Crawford had that AC heating and cooling, whatever.
Yeah, which is perfect.
Which he didn't even ever play, but
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like, you can do something like that. You got to be able to get a deal for the quarterback, right?
Do something. I mean, you got to be able to open
That's
up.
what they should have freaking done with. I'm sorry, that's what they should have done with Dylan. They should have had somebody come in big time with the big time NIL deal and said, "Rayola, you're a legacy. We can give you $1 million a year." But he's going to Georgia.
Ooh, okay. So Luke says that this Armstrong from NC State's pretty awesome. Very unhappy. Has ties to our coaching staff. So
He's very unhappy at NC State.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm guessing he's not starting. So
As long as he's not has like 50 turnovers at Georgia Tech coming in, then let's take a serious look at him.
any quarterback that hits the portal that's worth looking at, we should look at. I mean, people talk about Arch Manning too. I mean, he's not going to play at Texas this year, next year, probably the year after, like unless he outplays their quarterbacks, and I just don't know if that's going to happen. So,
I mean,
if he wants to play,
it's pretty discouraging. I mean, you see a backup for Illinois. He threw for like 375 yards yesterday. A backup quarterback.
yeah.
And they beat Indiana in overtime or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's like,
yep.
How do we not have somebody like that?
No.
And you see it across the board. I mean, we talked about this all the time.
All the time.
I am watching a game, Missouri, Tennessee. I'm watching this game and that game, and I'm like, man, these guys, or even Maryland, they have a backup punter that's never punted. And his first punt, he downs at the 5. It's like, we don't have players like that can come in and do something
phenomenal
on their first play.
Yeah.
You got guys and they're like, oh yeah, they're pretty injury prone. So this is, he's seen limited action this week, this season. And he throws for they said their quarterback for Illinois had more yards in the first half than we've averaged like the last 5 games. It's crazy.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That
It's
hurts
like,
a lot.
man, how do we not have somebody that can come in and do something?
And it's funny. It's funny that
I understand all the injuries, but man. Anyway, go on.
It's funny that you look at the history of Nebraska, and again, a lot of people say people don't care about history. They do, because I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about recruits. You have to look at the history of the school, where they come from, where they started, how they've done, where they're going. Like, all that plays into that recruiting process. It's not just what you're currently doing. People aren't looking at Alabama and saying, what are you doing this year and last year? They'll look, what did you do the last 10 years? What did you do the last 15, 20 years? Like, hey, you were a dumpster fire. Saban comes and saves your ass. Now you got 7 titles, whatever it is. Like, holy cow, like, I want to look at that history. Nebraska has a history of really good quarterbacks. And the fact that we've struggled to get a good quarterback here in a long time, I mean, talking since Crouch, to have a really stellar quarterback. Yes, we had some good quarterbacks, some really good running quarterbacks.
Taylor Martinez was really good. As much as he was criticized, he was probably the best that we've had since.
He's probably the best that we've had. And Tommy Armstrong was good.
He was decent. And he is because he played for 4 years and he was gutsy. He wore his heart on his sleeve. I love Joe Gans.
Yes.
But no, we've had some decent ones, but not
great.
Right.
Now you see the problem is you see these other schools who are getting quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback.
Right.
It's like they're recycling quarterbacks, like they have their own quarterback making machine, and they're saying, "Here's what we want out of this quarterback. He's going to be a prototype of this guy, this guy, this guy. Bring him in." And it's year after year after year. And Nebraska has not had that since we had Frost, Frazier, Berger, Crouch. We have not had that line of quarterbacks since that. And
you can go even further back than that.
Different time,
boom, boom,
different
boom, boom,
game,
boom.
different shoulder pads. You're not running with these beefy ass shoulder pads anymore.
No more option, but I mean, we still run option, I guess.
Yeah, and we got to sprinkle that in more. I think we ran it once yesterday.
We did a couple times.
Man, like you should run that 10, 15 times a game.
Well, before when we were doing it, it was mostly designed quarterback. I mean, it was option, but quarterback keeper. When we ran it yesterday, it was almost immediately pitch because they were right there.
They're ready for it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Whether it's, people watch film on us and they kind of know our tendencies.
Yep. But here's what's going to happen.
Okay.
My prediction, Donnie. Yes, winning does bring recruits. What else brings recruits is going to a bowl game. If we get win number 6 against Wisconsin or Iowa, or number 6 and number 7 to end out the season,
okay,
which we can do, we are a good enough team. If we don't turn the ball over, we're a good enough team to win both those games. If we do that, the recruits will see that and they will want to come. I don't care if we are 7-5 or 6-6 at the end of the season. If we go bowling, that is going to change the way recruits see Nebraska. It's been since 2016.
I know.
If they see us go bowling in the first year under Matt Rule, what's next?
That's why these last 2 weeks have been so tough, because we should have won both.
Yes.
And I mean, you look back at it, and we're a few plays away from literally 8-2.
Yeah.
I mean,
literally
8-2. Michigan, obviously a loss. Colorado sucks now. We'll take the L.
But we had turnovers that game too. What, 4 turnovers? We should have won that game too. There's not a game on our schedule that we should not have won,
except Michigan,
if we didn't turn the balls over, except for Michigan. Outside of Michigan, we could have one loss right now. We should. We shouldn't have lost to Minnesota, turnovers. We shouldn't have lost to Colorado, turnovers. Michigan State, Maryland, you name it. Every single game has been because we cannot hold on to the damn ball.
Even some of the games we won.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that we have that we have 5 wins with turnovers is incredible. We lead the Big Ten in turnovers. The fact that we have 5 wins is amazing.
Pretty sure we lead the nation in turnovers.
Yeah. Yep. And I did say yesterday, I believe I told you too, and I was really, again, I was steamed when I called you, and I had this.
You were fired up.
I had this piercing headache too, which didn't help. So I was already. I
could see the vein in your head. You could feel it through the phone.
You could feel. I didn't even FaceTime you. You could feel it. That's incredible. Feel it. We lead the nation in turnovers, which is funny. The math doesn't math, because the guy yesterday on Peacock said they average 4 turnovers per game. I'm like, and then with 22, it's like, wait, we've
9 games
times
4 is 36.
We haven't had 36 turnovers, but the math wasn't mathing. I think he's probably saying average 4 turnovers over the last 3 games, probably. I don't know. Either way, it's not good. So,
or maybe we put it on the ground, but we've maybe gotten it back. All in all, we've maybe put the ball on the. Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah, dude, we could be 9-1 right now. There's no reason why we could not be 9-1.
I mean, Iowa's 8-2.
They won 22-0 the first shutout of the season, but 22-0,
which was probably one of their better games. But they're 8-2, and I mean, we played pretty similar to how they've played.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that's funny about Maryland yesterday. They made the same stupid mistakes that we made. Turnovers. They made some stupid penalties. They had they went for it on 4th down a couple times, and we stopped them.
4th and 1, and they run it right at Nash. What are you doing?
Well, their turnovers were at really poor timing for them, but they could have thrown the ball the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Why were they even running the ball?
Mm-hmm.
They have one of the best pass offenses in the Big Ten, and they barely used it against us.
I know.
And I'm like, you don't want to win. Okay, let's win.
And we have our best corner out. And they have one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. in my opinion, even though he didn't really look that way yesterday. One of the best, at least passing quarterbacks in the Big Ten. They should have thrown the ball the whole game, and we should have ran the ball the whole game, and neither one of us did it.
No. It's incredible.
It's stupid.
That could have been an offensive explosion.
It could have been like a 31-28 game where they threw the ball the whole game and we ran it, and it would have been a lot more fun than a 13-10 game. Even though the score differential would have been the same, it would have been more fun to watch than me being pissed the whole game.
It was like a roller coaster of emotions. Yes, like I was scared my dog.
I'm having beer today, but I couldn't even drink yesterday. I mean, I could have, but I got my wisdom teeth out, so I wasn't drinking. I probably shouldn't be, but damn it, I got to talk about the game.
Nebraska, Mike Persical, Sitting and Sipping podcast. His prediction: Nebraska over Wisconsin, 24-14. Nebraska over Iowa, 31-7. Mike, I love it. Love the positivity. Here's the thing:
the 24-14, I could see Mike. Iowa's going to be more like a 7-3 or a 6-3.
It could be a 9-6 game. Someone else just said 9-6. We beat Wisconsin, or we beat Iowa. Either way, either game could be that way.
Either way could be that way. Either game.
But again, if we can go out winning 2 of 2, if we beat Wisconsin, who haven't beaten 8 years, and we beat Iowa for the second time in 8 years, mark it down. We're going to get some recruits flipping to Nebraska because they're going to want to come and continue to build on the success that Matt Rule and this squad has started and the players on the team.
So a couple things. First, and gosh, we should already
went over Iowa 3-2. They're going to get a safety.
It's going to be a baseball score. All right, sounds great. We should already be 6 or 7, but if you remember right, my prediction was 7-5, so that could still hit. But
7-5, yeah.
But you were?
Yeah, I think yeah. Usually I go 9-3. I know, but I said 7-5 this year.
Okay,
I tailed it back a little bit.
We'll check those receipts, I guess.
We will. We'll hold on to the receipts.
Speaking of,
by the way, Donnie says he's not sipping, he's chugging.
Yes,
Mike might be chugging. When you watch Two Average Guys, we say some things. You're like, I got to chug to that.
Mike, we can chug it, Mike.
We can chug it. 5.2.
So anyway, speaking of receipts, did you see that a 5-star wide receiver decommitted from Colorado? And did you see that a 5-star offensive lineman from Iowa decommitted from Iowa? Yeah, that's what happens when, you see the tendencies and the patterns of these schools. Like, yeah, I don't really want to go to Colorado anymore. That looked fun for a minute, and now I don't want to go there.
So William believes that we're going to beat both Wisconsin and Iowa, and then we're going to win our bowl game, and we're going to have golden pot of recruits. Again, we should have won our last 2 games. We should already be bowl eligible, but we're not. Can we still do it? Absolutely. Now, a competent offense, yes, Luke. A competent offense in Rutgers couldn't score against Iowa. Watch film. It is all about watching what Iowa's defense does. If you do that well enough, then you can win. And they are not – we know they're not flashy. Iowa's not – we know their defense and their punter is the best 2 parts of their team.
Best aspects on their team.
Outside of that, I mean, we know what their offense doesn't do.
Well, here's how they win. They play well with their defense. They play well with the punt game and field position, and then they take advantage. I mean, a lot of that scoring was field goals early on. And, then they get a turnover made for a touchdown. I don't know. I didn't see the box score. I didn't watch any of it. I know it was 22-0, but I thought it was 12-0 at one point. I'm like, oh, they
but it is all about.
So that's all that's what they do. So, I mean, if you can break that, I mean, let's take a look at the game we had against them last year. We were 3-9, or no, we were 3-8.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we essentially, Trey Palmer said he woke up pissed off and told Casey Thompson to throw it as far as you can, and he burned him a couple times, and that's all that we needed.
If you can get a lead on Iowa, they're not going to usually come back. For them to come back and win, very, very rare.
It's going to be a punt return touchdown.
But you
have to, at that point, kick the ball out of bounds or whatever you need to do.
It's a good thing our kicker doesn't really kick it to the other team because he barely makes it to them. So that might be good for us. I do see that game coming down to potentially a field goal like we've seen.
Like yesterday.
Hopefully we're on the good side of that. But again, we get the lead. We're in a much better spot than if we're behind.
Agreed. It's always tricky because, you know, when we kicked off yesterday to start the game, I always love to get the ball to start second half because whether you're up or down, you get the ball to start second half. And you can get points before the end of the half and then get points to start the second half. So that's always the way I see it. But when it's windy, then that can change the total dynamic of a half.
Yeah.
So if you're going into the wind for the second quarter, you know, then that kind of sucks. And if you're going into the wind for the fourth quarter, that sucks too. So weather can play a big factor these next couple of games. Maybe not. Well, we'll see.
We're in the Midwest. I mean, this is a windy time of year in Nebraska, in Iowa, in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, in Ohio, the entire Big Ten. We are facing something that we know the weather is going to be a part of the game, and the wind is definitely a part of the game.
Yeah.
You know, Casey consumed a lot of alcohol yesterday.
I wish.
I didn't have a drink until I think the fourth quarter. And I had one beer. And I like IPAs. And I had a double IPA. It's called Ice Cream Sandwiches in Space. Delicious, but it's like either 9.5 or 10.5%.
Is that one that Mike and Brev, their wives, gave to him? No.
Oh God, if they've had one, they're not going to make it through a show alive. If 5.2 hits them. Anyway,
Put that on your shelf there, Mike.
Yeah, Ice Cream Sandwiches in Space.
Get on the show,
Good
bud.
luck finding it. But anyways, it was.
What about that pizza beer?
Pizza Puff?
Pizza Puff?
Yeah, I had a beer last night for the UNO Mavericks game called Pizza Puff, which was delicious.
Screw Long Island. Sorry. Let's get back on track. Sorry.
Let's get back on track. William likes dark beer. Good for you. I'm not a huge dark. It kind of depends. Like Guinness, I'll drink Guinness now. Brian, our producer, is a big fan of Guinness. Comes from our Irish side of the family.
Yes.
But, you know, again, I think we have there's no reason why we do not have the opportunity and we should not win our last two games. Just like there's no reason why we shouldn't have won the last two, but the only reason was turnovers. You eliminate the turnovers, you win the turn. And I said this on Character's post. I said, he said, what's the key to the game? Win the turnover battle. You win the turnover battle, you can win. We did not win the turnover battle.
And I know we're getting close to the end here, but we can go all day if you want. Anyway, as far as turnover battle goes, take a look at the turnovers that we got on defense.
Yep.
Yeah, we stopped them at the 3. That saved points.
Field position.
But the 2 turnovers that we got before that got us our 10 points that we scored in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They got us our 10 points.
Yep.
And so that is a huge difference. And when we give them 5, they didn't score 5 touchdowns after our 5 turnovers, or they didn't get a field goal or touchdown after every one. But when we can score on the ones we get from them, and we still hold them on the ones that we give up to them, then we should win every game.
Yes.
I mean, we really should. And so, I mean, unfortunately, the only 10 points we got yesterday were off of the turnovers. Great that we scored off.
Which is what you want to do.
Which is what we're supposed to do. We got to figure out a way to score points elsewhere. Yep. But if we're tied, you know, if we're even on the turnover margin, or even if we have 2 and they have 1, I still think that we can win those games.
Yes.
With how well our defense is playing, and if we can
run the damn ball.
I text you guys like 17 times during the game.
Yeah.
There might have been a run the other words in there too, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Anyways, so we know how bad yesterday was. We also know that we could have won that game. We also know we could have won last week. We also know we can win in the next 2 games. I hope everyone else believes that. I still see a lot of positivity, a lot of things that are going right for this team. You eliminate the turnovers, we potentially are 9-1 right now. And there's no argument to that. You cannot disagree with that because we said it and it's fact.
I mean,
that's all I gotta say. All right,
you take away 2 multi-touchdown losses.
Yeah,
I mean, we're 8-2.
Yeah. So here's what we got coming up. A couple things. First of all, again, want to remind everybody, Backswing Brewing, good beer.
Yes.
Next week, Against Wisconsin, we got a 6:30 game. We're playing on the road at Wisconsin, night game.
We haven't beaten Wisconsin
8 years.
in a long time.
Long time.
And when we did beat them, they put up 70 on us in the Big Ten championship that same year.
It's true. It's true, but we beat them. We're going to be at Backswing next week. Backswing Brewing tap room here in Omaha, Nebraska.
Eagle Run.
Eagle Run area. If you are in
129th and Maple.
129th and Maple. If
South
you
side
are
of Maple.
in Omaha, come hang out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have 14 giveaways during the
15.
show. 15 giveaways.
Plus probably a few more.
We'll probably have close to 20 giveaways during the show. So we're going to have 2 Average Guys koozies, 2 Average Guys tumblers. We're going to have a hat. We got stickers galore. We're going to have the hat here. We have a barbecue grill set. We have just another Husker koozie with a water bottle. And then Backswing Brewing is going to throw in some giveaways as well, whether it's a free pint, it could be some glasses, it could be a gift card. So a lot of giveaways.
John Spildy graciously
Some peanut brittle.
gave us some peanut brittle that we'll give away. It's supposed to be fantastic. So
Yes.
if you like peanut brittle, you can win some.
Looks like Donnie's going to be there. Hell yeah. Mike, you better be there.
Mike, come on, bro. You missed the game for a kid's birthday party. That's collateral right there, man.
We got some. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to change things up from what we did last time in person. We learned a lot from that show.
Yeah, it was fun, but
what we
could
don't want to do and what we want to do.
Yeah, it should be a lot more fun.
So anybody that shows up,
And it was really fun.
Everybody that shows up automatically gets thrown into the drawing. So you're going to get a ticket when you get there. We're going to throw your other half of the ticket into the drawing, and we're going to do these drawings throughout the game. I think we're going to have a putting mat there too, so you can putt to win something. So again, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then anybody that shows up, Donnie, you especially, if you want to come sit with us and talk with us during like an intermission or something, we'll have fans. Like, we're going to try to do just some fun stuff. So come hang out with us. We don't have a whole lot of swag as far as like t-shirts and sweatshirts, because that's hard to do with sizes. But again, the link is, we'll post the link again for how you can order stuff if you want to. Usually 7 to 10 days delivery, so it comes pretty fast.
We could do a giveaway maybe where like somebody gets a pick of their choice of like a hat or a shirt or sweatshirt or something, and we could order them in their size or whatever.
We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out like that.
Anyways, we're excited though. Next week's going to be fun. If you can make it to the Omaha Tap Room for Backswing Brewing, please come join us. Going to be a lot of fun. There is a 50th birthday party that night, so which can make it even more fun because we can have a hell of a lot of fun with those guys. So looking forward to it.
Definitely be interesting.
Mike 5.2, let's do it. Again, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I don't got anything else. I think that's about it for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit disappointing, but it's there in front of us still.
Yeah, we still got 2 more
still
games.
Year one. You know, I know we've been saying it for years, like we're gonna get there, but we're gonna get there.
We're going to get there. Hang in there. Hang in there, Husker Nation. We got this. All right, everybody, I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're 2 Average Guys. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Go Cowboys.
We'll see you next week at Backswing.
See you next week at Backswing, Saturday night.
Come on, good game, everybody, yeah. Pat, I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, ring commercial.
Yeah, I know, I'm just making conversation. Come on, football!
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. How it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're about to win, and we're going to win today. In the days of old, Johnny Vanderbold would just take that ball in hand, and with Benedict right in front of him, they would set sail for the land. Then Doc Eager too, with a chosen few, would be all round everywhere. And before they'd quit, they would calmly sit down behind that